All right, let's get into our next topic, because when I saw this article drop, I was questioning, where do these sources come from? This was ridiculous. But Ben Volin of the Boston Globe reports that Matt Patricia was, quote, set up to fail as the offensive coordinator by Belichick and the Krafts. And he goes on to say, I'll get into it, but let's give a quick answer right now. Do you think, honestly, that Matt Patricia was set up to fail by accepting the Patriots head coaching job, which apparently, according to this, he actually had, offensive coordinator. He apparently had 3 or 4 jobs, along with just being the play caller.
He had the salary cap was his responsibility.
I'm going to get into that, because there's a lot of contradictions in this entire thing, but you can see it's Boston Globe. Ben Volin talks about it. Do you think Matt Patricia was set up to fail by the Patriots?
No.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
What do you think of the article, though?
I think the article was written just to get people all riled up. I don't think it was.
He's got a source in here. What are you talking about? He's got a source in here close to Patricia that isn't his agent, supposedly.
Yeah. Well, it didn't say who it was. So
of course not. Anonymous sources.
Yeah. I don't think they tried to set him up to fail. They gave him an opportunity to succeed. You got to look at it the other way. The guy's a smart guy. They've had a lot of confidence in him. He helped them win 4 Super Bowls on the defensive side of the ball. Here's one little thing that I think could play into this, okay? I think that there might have been some jealousy between Belichick and Josh McDaniel, okay? And that Josh McDaniel was seen as a all-world offensive coordinator. He got a huge paycheck for it from the Krafts, right? And I think that might have rubbed Belichick a little bit the wrong way. So when McDaniel left, right, Belichick's going to say, you know what? He didn't make that big a difference in our offense. It wasn't him so much. He was good, but was he great? I'm going to we'll put a defensive guy in there, a really smart guy, and I'm going to help a little bit, right? And I bet you we'll have an offense that's just as good, and that will show that Josh McDaniel wasn't worth $5 million a year. I almost think I think there's some of that thinking going through Belichick's head. I might be wrong.
That's interesting.
But I do think that's a possibility, okay? And that, unfortunately, Matt Patricia was not successful. I do think he's a good coach. And Belichick came out and said recently he thought he's a good coach. But they didn't really – they kind of let him be the fall guy for the offense being poor. And when they at the end of the season, Krafts said, we're going to make changes, and they brought in O'Brien. And
almost immediately,
and nobody was saying anything good about Matt Patricia. I hope they don't. He had a chance to be the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, apparently.
Yep.
He interviewed for that. He and Sean Payton are close, apparently. And maybe he'll wind up there as a position coach or something. But maybe he'll stay with the Patriots. I think the Patriots owe it to him. I really do. I think
according to this, they don't. According to this report, they don't owe him nothing.
Well, that report is one guy's opinion, and I don't think that's really the view of the Patriots totally.
Well,
I think they gave Matt Patricia an opportunity.
They did.
And they felt like he was smart enough. They thought he was smart enough to succeed in it. And it didn't work out. So he's the guy that takes the fall for it. But I don't think that their view was, you know what, we're setting you up to fail. They didn't want to fail. They wanted the offense to be good.
I've never heard of a Patriots team that wants to fail.
That's ridiculous. They're a winning franchise. They're a winning franchise. They're winners. They don't want to set some guy up to fail, and that means that they're not going to make the playoffs or win a bunch of games. That's not their mindset. That's crazy.
I agree with you when it comes to that. I do want to get into this article, though, because there are a lot of contradictions in this article.
Okay.
And there are a lot of very interesting points that are made. I want to start off with this one. They say Matt Patricia, a defensive coach for nearly 2 decades, took over offensive play calling for the first time in 2022. He also coached the offensive line, managed the Patriots salary cap, and according to this, performed 1,000 little jobs for his mentor and close friend Bill Belichick. I want to highlight a couple words here. Managed the Patriots salary cap. Think about that for a second. and also coach the offensive line. That's another key one right there. And offensive play calling. Those were his 3 roles.
I think it's too much to expect for somebody that's picking up a brand new job.
Well, according to this, the way one source, this is what the article's saying. Quote: the way one source close to the situation described it, Patricia didn't really want to be the offense coordinator, but did it as a favor to Belichick, who needed someone he could trust. That's what this article is saying. And apparently, it also was indirectly a favor to the Krafts, who didn't have to pay an offensive coordinator in 2022, as Patricia was still getting paid by the Detroit Lions.
I'm not sure that's a big deal for the Krafts. The billionaires, right? Are they really that stingy that they have to worry about?
It's saving money. It's saving money.
Yeah, saving money, but, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much money.
You could be right, but... It goes on to say that fellow coaches took shots at Patricia during the season, and anonymous sources blasted Patricia's offense for being as simplistic and as disorganized. And we talked about the Boston Herald, where they had a bunch of sources come out that talked about it. But the problem is, though, the fellow coaches, I know one in particular, which was the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator, who literally came out and said the offense is like a defensive coordinator is calling the plays. Because it was all screens and simple stuff. It goes on to say that Patricia, it goes on to say basically the exact same thing. Patricia, a defensive coach for nearly 2 decades, word for word what it said in the earlier paragraph, was the least qualified offensive coordinator in the NFL in 2022. And the Patriots offense performed exactly as one would expect. That's the key right there. You're pointing out that Patricia was the least qualified coach, and he performed as expected. And Patricia, quote, had a horrible tenure as the Lions head coach, that's for damn sure, going 13-29-1 in 2+ seasons and not making many friends among the players or local media. A lot of players who were on the Lions under Matt Patricia's rule, they've come out and they've criticized Patricia pretty severely. And then it goes on to say, but to blame Patricia for the Patriots' mess last year is misplaced. It's blaming the soldiers instead of the general. Well, here's my problem with that. Patricia ain't a soldier in this situation. He was the general because he was the offensive play caller, managed the salary cap, so that who's coming in, who's going out, and also coached the offensive line.
Okay, but he wasn't the head coach. I mean, the head coach is the general.
In this situation, what he's getting criticized for,
I would
the
say
offense.
he was, Belichick was the 5-star general, and Patricia was, maybe a 1-star general. He wasn't the head dude.
I mean, we're taking a look at the offense.
I think in that article, doesn't Belichick said that it's my responsibility.
I mentioned that, but no one criticized Belichick because I don't know why. First of all, Belichick. This is the only time until the end of the season Belichick took accountability for his actions. The only time. Throughout the season, he didn't say, well, you know what? It's my fault. I put us in a situation to lose.
It wasn't admitting defeat because that's what they had to live with. He wasn't going to say, well, I agree, it's all screwed up. He was hoping they could make it better. Right? He was hoping that they would do well as the season went on, that they would figure it out and that would work well. He can't say, you know what? It's a mess. He can't say that in the middle of the season, right? You would agree with that. He can't say that.
What that we've been playing horribly?
That our offensive leadership and the coaching is a mess. He can't say that in the middle of the season.
You could say that, but don't actually say, yeah, by the way, Patricia sucks as offense. You can't say that directly. Say that. But you could say we have to coach better. I mean, the Buccanueers last year.
I'm sure he did say that. We have to play better.
Todd Bowles would come on the mic after his team put up 14
Belichick
points with Brady and say,
Belichick generally says that after every game they lose. We were outcoached. We need to do better.
The problem was, though, where were the changes? Yeah, you could coach better. Usually when you're down and out and your offense looked like the Patriots offense did this year, you see changes. I didn't see nothing. I saw more of the same.
Well, they had limited talent then. They're often, it says something in there about their receivers being mediocre.
Well,
right?
The article talks about that. It literally says, right? It just mentioned how the blame for the Patriots mess is misplaced if you're putting it on Patricia. It literally goes, as much as Patricia didn't put the Patriots in a position to succeed in 2022, the Patriots didn't set him up for success either. Right. Their receiving core was average, if we're being generous, one AFC executive said on Wednesday. One defensive coordinator told Mike Giardi of NFL Network that there was, quote, wasn't a matchup we feared. Here's my problem with that. This is basically the exact same wide receiver core, if not upgraded with Devontae Parker, as last year. It is the exact same.
Devontae Parker had some injuries.
With added talent. They added a rookie, Tyquan Thornton, who didn't play great.
That guy's not very good.
And they also added Devontae Parker, who in the games he played well. He played pretty well.
But he didn't play that many games. Right?
Correct. So you can't say that they didn't set him up for success because their wide receiver core was average, if we're being generous, because this is the same wide receiver core that made Mac Jones a top 15 quarterback the 2 seasons ago. It was the same wide receiver core that actually played pretty well. They played good enough to earn a playoff spot. To give Mac Jones a higher passer rating than quarterbacks like a Tom Brady, have a higher completion percentage, have a higher passer rating than Josh Allen, have a higher completion percentage than Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, well, you know what? I agree with you, but they didn't play as well this year as they did the prior year.
And here,
they made a bunch of boneheaded mistakes. They dropped a lot of passes.
There was one.
They dropped a lot of passes. The Aguilar there, he had a very poor season. I'm hoping he won't be back with them. They didn't play. They didn't play Bourne, Kendrick Bourne, who had a very good season the prior year. He was like 700 yards, right? 800 yards and 60 or so catches. He had a good season last year. Not last year, the year before. For whatever reason, they didn't think he was good enough to be out there on the field much, and they played Thornton more than him. I don't get it, and that was the coaching issue. That was part of the coaching issue.
Well, here's another coaching issue, right? Once again, he's the offensive play caller. He coached the offensive line, managed the Patriots' salary cap. The main problem that I said at the very jump is, where is Kendrick Bourne? Tyquan Thornton played an absurd amount of snaps as a rookie wide receiver, just to see if he would fit. Usually by week 10, you know whether or not he's worth playing 96% of the snaps consistently. Kendrick Bourne in week 1, I believe he was out there for, 10% of the plays? He got one target, was a catch for 40 yards. You didn't see Kendrick Bourne. That's a formation issue. That's a scheme issue. That's on Matt Patricia. The offensive line dropped off. They were the 9th best offensive line last year. At one point in the season, they were ranked 25th in the league in offensive line, and that was late in the season.
Yeah, they had problems there, that's for sure, on the offensive line.
And we're talking about Owenu, the guard, who had a better season than he did last year. And here's the thing, though.
How about Strong, that guy? Strange. Sorry, he had a strange season.
Well, here's another change that I don't think worked very well. Moving Trent Brown to left tackle. He was a significantly better right tackle last year, 2 seasons ago, than left tackle this past year.
No.
So he either needs to get better at left tackle or move back to right.
He was on a Super Bowl team, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. He played well. It was younger, I guess. It was a while ago, I don't know whether he's a free agent, right? Brown.
No.
Trent Brown.
I think
he's going to be on the team again this year.
Yeah, he's still in a contract.
Yeah. They lost faith in Isaiah Wynn.
They're probably going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to save them some salary cap space. But here's the last point I want to make on this article. It goes on to say that he's not big, he's not fast, he doesn't have a strong arm, and he doesn't show great decision-making last year. This is about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
It says that there's also reality that perhaps Jones isn't that good of a quarterback. Well, we saw him his rookie year. He was a top 15 quarterback in his rookie year with, according to an AFC executive, average, if we're being generous, of a receiving core. So he's a top 15 quarterback in his rookie year, coming straight out of college, with Josh McDaniels as your offensive play caller.
They had a better offensive line.
The
offensive line was better 2 years ago than it was last
the only
year.
change was Shaq Mason. You put in Cole Strange and replaced Shaq Mason. You got Owenu. You had David Andrews. Trent Brown moved.
Yeah.
And then you
Isaiah
had...
Wynn was the left tackle.
Isaiah Wynn was left tackle. He was in and out of the lineup throughout the year. But all in all, you had essentially the same offensive line. So here's my didn't show great decision-making last year. I showed clips on this show of 3rd and 4s where the closest receiver was 12 yards away. Now tell me how you can make a great decision when you have 4 yards to get and your receiver is 12 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. And here's the thing, not even open. You know why? Because it's taking 3-4 seconds for a play to develop on a 3rd and 4.
Their plays were too slow to develop, that's for sure. And Mac Jones stood back there too long holding the ball. Mainly
no one was open.
No one was open.
No one's open. No one's making a break for it. And you know why no one's open? Because there were no short routes. I saw 2nd and 4s, 3rd and 3s. People be on go routes. What is that play calling? You can't say, okay, we're on short. Let's run let's run 4 go routes. Let's run a high post route. These are like 15-yard plays. You got to get 5 yards. What are you doing here? So you can't say, and also, but many fans and some media badly want Jones to be the Patriots franchise quarterback, so he gets very little of the blame, and Patricia becomes a one-man whack-a-mole. That is false. That statement right there is completely false. Look at the Bears game. From that point on, Mac Jones had to hear Bailey Zappi chants from the fans and on media. I went on the show consistently saying that I'm reading comments on every Patriots post says Mac Jones would trend on Twitter, and all the comments would be about Bailey Zappi is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. So that right there, that's one Google search away from disproving that.
Yeah.
Because if the entire stadium is chanting Bailey Zappi's name, how can you say that many fans and some media badly want Mac Jones to be the franchise quarterback and gets very little of the blame?
They must be the ones that are watching on TV instead of in the stands calling for Zappi.
You can even hear it on the you heard it on the Bears broadcast.
Yeah.
As soon as Bailey Zappi got it, the cheers go up. Everyone's crazy about Bailey Zappi.
He started out great. He scored 2 touchdowns right off there, and then I don't know how they lost that game. That was I still think about that.
It was a very strange game considering how the Bears looked at the end of the season.
I know.
No offensive line, no passing game.
Horrible.
Justin Fields was running for his life.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but this report it's filled with contradictions. It makes no sense whatsoever. Set up to fail as OC. First of all, Matt Patricia could have said no.
He's not going to say he was set up to fail as an OC.
Right, but he also could have said no to this job.
That's true.
It was his decision to join the Patriots.
He was given an opportunity,
and not only
he didn't
that,
succeed.
He was offered an offensive coordinator job for the Patriots. He could have said, "I'll be glad to join, but put me at what I could actually do, and that's defense."
Yeah, but he could have stayed a scout.
He could.
Right? He was a scout, and he could have managed the salary cap. I guess maybe he could have still been the offensive line coach. I don't know. But
the offensive line was horrible, so I don't know if that was a great idea.
But still, he wouldn't have been in the calling the plays. Yeah.
This is his resume. He's been a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, linebackers coach, offensive line coach, and salary cap manager.
Been on 4 winning Super Bowl teams.
What I would do,
defensive
I have my pen nearby. Here we go. This is what I would do if I was making Matt Patricia's resume, right, and I want to highlight all my key quality features. I would take a big red pen, and I would cross out offensive coordinator. I would also cross out salary cap manager, and I would also cross off offensive line coach. Because you had a very poor offensive line, you got no one to help out. You set up the fail with a below-average wide receiver core. You were a salary cap manager. Bring in somebody. Move the salary cap around to afford somebody like this.
Did he do a good job on the salary cap? I don't know.
He had a nobody. If he was set up to fail because of a below-average receiving core and a bad offense, you manage the salary cap. Make it work. And also, offense coordinator, your offense was horrible.
I wonder what their salary cap is this year.
They're like the 5th highest in the league.
They have the 5th highest cap.
Yeah.
I mean, least amount of money available.
Cap space.
Oh, they have the 5th most cap space available?
They have the 5th most amount to spend.
Well, that's pretty good then.
Well, right? I mean, you do realize that was projected like 3-4 years ago. when they signed a bunch of contracts already.
But you have to manage it year to year, right? It has to be managed year to year.
Well, what has been managed? What has been managed thus far? No one has been released. No one's been traded.
Well, they're still pretty early. After March 15th, you're going to see things start to happen.
Well, we're talking about this last year. He signed in the offseason to be a salary cap manager, supposedly. We were all looking for changes in the wide receiver position.
Mm-hmm.
You had Devontae Parker.
Well, I think they felt like they had the team they wanted, right?
Apparently not. If people are going to come out and say
they brought in Ty Montgomery. He played one game.
Yeah.
Right? He got hurt, and they never saw him again the whole season.
Yeah. They also decided to bring back Malcolm Butler, who had an injury.
He was gone
in
instantly.
The preseason. They released him immediately.
He was a 2-year player, though, right?
He's still under contract by the Patriots.
Yeah.
He has 1 year, $9 million left on his deal. Or sorry,
$4
1
million.
year, $4.5 million. Sorry, it's a 2 year, $9 million deal. So I'm sorry, but this report is there's a lot of there's not this may be an opinion piece more than a report, I would say.
Yeah,
because there's not much that makes sense.
Just something to get people all riled up. Did that to us, right? We've spent 20 minutes talking about it.
I mean, it's just stupid. You can't turn on ESPN or local media without getting mocked. I like how it says. It literally says he performed as well as you could as the least qualified offense coordinator. But it's not his fault. What? If someone was the least qualified at their position and they perform poorly, whose fault is it? Yours. Because it was your job to perform.
You bear some of the responsibility.
You bear most of it.
Yeah.
Especially, if you accept
the head coach is ultimately bears the responsibility.
Yeah, well, I tried to get you to try to put some blame on Belichick. You kept trying to put it on Mac Jones. So again, that report goes that some fans.
I'm not the greatest fan of Mac Jones, I must say. I think he's somewhat of a crybaby, and we'll see what happens. I think that they don't like the way he dissed the coaches in public at the games. They did not like that. Belichick didn't like that.
Was it not deserved?
And Belichick benched him for a while because of that.
No,
because he was reaching out to other teams.
That's the reason why.
To ask, how can we get our offense going? That's ridiculous. You can't do that. That is not. You're an employee.
So is Patricia.
Yeah. So is
Belichick.
Yeah.
Belichick is employed on. The owner owns everything.
No, but Belichick is the head coach, though.
But he's an employee.
Yeah, true. But he's the one making the players report to him, right? He reports.
Well, apparently not on offense.
He reports to Kraft. The players report to him, right? And the coaches report to him. Actually, the players report to the coaches.
The coaches report to Belichick.
And Belichick reports to Kraft. Okay?
Right.
So the fact that they were having trouble on the offense, Belichick maybe should have spent more time on the offense with them. And
but Belichick doesn't know offense.
He's, maybe he tried that and it didn't work.
Belichick's not an offensive guy, though.
And in a way, I think Belichick, deep down inside, I think maybe he wasn't that upset that the offense wasn't doing so great because he loves the defense, and the defense actually won some games for them. They scored quite a few touchdowns on defense, right? And special teams, too, had some, except for the last game against the Bills there with 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. I think, the special teams and the defense, he loves that. So we'll see this year. I think it'll be much better. I do think with Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
And I think Matt Jones is the starter, then he'll have a better year, I'm pretty sure.
I think
there'll be competition between him and Zappi in the preseason, though.
Zero. Over Kraft's dead body, would they let Mac Jones go?
Yeah, well, you know what? Kraft gave Drew Bledsoe a $100 million contract, and Belichick benched him.
You know why?
And guess what? They won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and then Kraft stuck to his guns, and Brady was there for 20 seasons. And now Mac Jones comes out here. Robert Kraft likes Mac Jones. So do you think Robert Kraft is going to let him go? Hell no. There's, once again, 0% chance Bailey Zappi will be the starter next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
0. Because why? I don't think people realize.
If he plays better.
I don't think people realize. The offense that Bailey Zappi ran last year in these, 4 games as a quarterback, was basically the same offense. Mac Jones played his rookie season. A super simplistic offense. So you're telling me that, you know what, you couldn't put another quarter? I mean, Brian Hoyer, if he didn't get hurt, who knows?
He was out there for like 4 plays, and then he got a concussion. He was gone.
Well, he got slammed to the turf on his sack. He's, 38 years old? He can't be taking those hits.
Jay.
So, completely, no. Mac Jones will be the starter. He's definitely a franchise quarterback.
Right.
He's the Patriots franchise quarterback. I just don't. I mean, Devin McCourty. Oh, here's another problem. A bunch of the players love Mac Jones. They think that he got screwed over with the Bailey Zappi situation.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens this year.
Your crybaby Mac Jones. It was well deserved. Well deserved. Come on.
We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be an interesting offseason. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.